So what made you want to kind of like help them homeless? Can you tell me more about that?
Well, I think how it happened, I'm a substitute teacher and a parent and a person on this planet, so you care about people and things. I started watching the city council and Measure G back in 2014. I wasn't exactly sure they were going to spend it on what they were going to spend it on, so I was more worried about the money for about 10 months, and then they passed this homeless ordinance, just what do they call it? They call it storage of personal property on city property. That's what they called it. And basically what that ordinance said was anything that the city comes across and it's not nice and neatly folded, it's not hung up, it's not clear and evident that it's clean, then they're going to consider it soiled and dirty and throw it all away. And that's just a blanket. It's like theft, you know. I mean, people are just barely surviving. Why are you picking on people? It's one thing to rip off or misspend or, you know, exaggerate how you're using our money, but it's another thing to be picking on people directly, and that's when I was just like, no.
Exactly. I feel that. So, can you tell me a bit about yourself, like your background, where you're from, how?
Well, my dad was in the Navy, so I grew up. My parents are from here. My mom's grandma was born in Watsonville, so we're like first generation. My dad grew up here when he got here when he was 5. So his half of the family's from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Fife, Alabama. And it's southern, right? I mean, and this was a hard place to be at. Honestly, back in those days, it was hard. You couldn't even, unless you had a job, you really couldn't come in. And my dad's dad, his mom was already out here, and that's how they came out here. So my dad was in the Navy, and I was born in Virginia. I grew up in Guam and Hawaii. So the first memories I had is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Everything is beautiful, lush, and it's swimming all day, and paradise, right? I mean, it's tropics.
It must be beautiful. I've never been, but it must be beautiful.
Well, Guam is a little island. It's only 6 miles by 2 miles, and it used to be a territory of Japan, and then the United States took it over. Well, the Guamanians, Filipinos, Pacific Islanders, they weren't exactly happy about, the white people in general. Here I am, a little kid, I'm white, I got blonde hair, and my last name is white. Right? So I got a little bit of that reverse discrimination, and the more that you listen to it, the more you realize, you know what, they're onto something, they're kind of right, because they're in the boonies, and these white people got the best land, and they got the best of everything, and the natives get the leftovers. And it's like how fair is that, especially in a country that claims all about equality, and you start realizing that underthrust, that underpinning of imperialism, colonialism, and all these things. And, so Hawaii from 2 to 11, that's my childhood. I came to the mainland when I was 11, so I kind of feel like a Pacific Islander in a lot of respects. I was able to make friends with a lot of people because I understood where they were coming from. We made friends. It's hard to do, honestly, because first you get picked on. For me and you especially. I've moved around so many times that I've met so many people that I've come to realize that there are 2-year-olds who act like they're 10. There are 10-year-olds that act like they're 50. Then there are 70-year-olds that act like they're 2. And it's frustrating, right? And the more places you go, the more you start realizing we're just a very immature country. We're immature society, immature, around the world, because we're so hip-oriented, right? Me, what's mine? I mean, we're consumers.
Yeah.
We've been, and now we're very much still Roman citizens.
Well, it's kind of weird that
I heard also that you're doing this campaign thing.
Oh, well, yes, I'm running for mayor. Absolutely. Yes, I'm in the process of getting some filing fees money together, about a third of the way at the minute. But yeah, I've been wagging my finger for so long that, you know, you can be a backseat driver, you can be a side seat driver, but it's a lot easier if you're just driving the car, you know, and it's just, I just want to see good things happen, and if they're not going to happen, I want you to tell me they're not going to happen, you know, and that incongruence is what I've been frustrated with a lot, and it's because people should be more important than paper. If you're going to public service, people should be more important, and it seems like the businesses and, you know, ownership wins, and it's like, but we're in public service, we're supposed to be serving the public, the general public. All this tax revenue gets taken from every single citizen here and everybody who travels through here. But where does the money get spent? You know, the money gets spent on contracts. That's the whole point of being up there. And are we spending it wisely? Are we spending it kindly? Are we at least not hurting people? If we're not interested in helping people, fine. But are we at least not hurting people by what we're doing?
That's great. So if you do become mayor, do you wish to accomplish these things? What do you want to do, especially around the city of Salinas? What changes do you want to make as well?
Well,
for the community?
No, see, I'm not sure how many rules I would change. I mean, I think we've already got a system that works pretty well. And honestly, what we really need is community. We need businesses and community, the attitude and the mindset to change. And be like, you know what? This isn't up to the county. This isn't up to the state or the feds. I don't want to pay my taxes into that. But what we need to realize is it's already in our heart. It's already the way that we think and we treat people. And we react to people whether we know them or not. And typically because we don't know them, we always want to think the worst about them. And that's just open discrimination. And a lot of that goes back to the paper. You know, what's in it for me? Are you going to pay me money? Do I believe that you're going to give me money? If I don't believe you're going to give me money, get out. Go away. You know, and that is the spice of life that we're in.
I know from statistics shown that there was a 57% increase in homelessness around here in Salinas, especially in different areas, from 2015 to 2017.
Yes.
Why do you believe there was that big of an increase here, especially?
So there's a few factors, because Monterey a couple of years ago passed an RV ban. You know, and also a no sit, no lie back in 2015 as well. And so they basically said, you homeless, get out. You loitering, get out. And honestly, right after the Civil War ended, they made loitering and vagrancy laws, because if you weren't working, then they put you in jail, and then they could make money off you. And that's kind of the same, it's a setup. It's kind of weird how we spend our money. But Monterey passed a lot of those kind of ordinances. Marina did the same. Seaside did the same. Where are they going to go? Monterey County did the same. They're going to influx to where, you know, the path of least resistance. This is the county seat. You know, this is where you get your social services, your state and federal benefits. If you can actually get them. I mean, it's advertised as being fully available and attainable, but when you get in line, you're getting breadcrumbs, if that, and you got to do 30, 40 hours a week to get $300 a month. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but the whole point is to say, yes, we're moving. But here we are, the county seat, and now we're passing this RV ordinance as well, oversized vehicles. And I mean, it's open discrimination is what it comes out to. They say it's about businesses, and maybe that's the way it started. But when you watch the presentation of the city of Salinas' RV oversized vehicle ordinance presentation, they show a picture of a bus, and then they talk about a picture of a bus, and then they show you over 36 pictures of people living in their RVs, and how horrible and how terrible it is. Even though they admit that not even 20% of those people sold about 10 or 12 vehicles total out of, you know, the whole mass exacerbation of what we're worried about. 12 cars is what we're talking about, you know, and so we passed this thing. Why? Because money. The bigger, more expensive places, especially along the peninsula, said get out, and they heard. You know, I mean, and these are people who are residents of Monterey and Seaside. They grew up there. You know, they couldn't keep the pace of the rising costs of living. You know, even your rent, your food. Every time you turn around, I mean, we just got a minimum wage increase, and you know what? Not that same day, almost everything at the grocery stores went up 5, 10, 15, 20 cents. You know, I mean, you didn't even get paid your $10 an hour yet, and you're already paying for the increase. Dredd, his name's Dredd.
Do you agree with this too? Like, do you think that's because of the 57% increase?
Well, I believe that everything's not in balance. Money, what you make, how you live. You know, it's done for nobody. Everybody's switched out. It says like, look, I'm going right here. That's why we do pictures. Take a picture of that. You know, what do you see? What's that? You know, but why? And there's no one who must go through what they have, Medicare or Monterey County or Salinas or they're not coincide with each other. They're all bound to that, so they're all waiting for what? And people have to come out of their house and give it to them. Don't have to, but it's humans.
So do you think that more people came from the peninsula and that's why there's more people in Salinas who are homeless now?
Also, that's probably all over the nation, man. These people out here. You know? And most of a lot of them come from Monterey, but they stay. But there are a lot of, if they don't say live there, okay, have names for themselves there, families there, bums are there. They have bums now. They're homeless, but they have names. They are kids, okay, but they're not wanderers. They travel to special spots, but these people don't.
Well, and there's certainly a lot of lifers out there in the peninsula who are still out there and you know, holding on and just being allowed to settle because that's what happens. There's a wave of a push of get out of here, and the ones who just kind of hold on, you know, they'll stay. But a lot of people, just that they're told to go, they will go. And you know,
what are we doing? They feed them, but like, are they doing the right thing?
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, that makes sense. But can they afford it? But what they are given is not, per se, healthy for them, so they give it back to them, but that is not. You have a nutritionist. A nutritionist one time, nutrition and gout. Now, how do you get gout?
not healthy.
Okay, now, the people who are there, I mean, if you think, if you go that far back when Christopher Columbus came here, people did not eat that. But once they got conquered through time, they thought, okay, if I'm going to be powerful, okay, I got to eat what they eat and beat just like them, and it's crazy. I mean, but through the years, and the churches grabbed onto it, and people, I see.
So that's where you think we kind of went wrong.
Yeah.
You know, putting.
And then the people, if you don't make them healthy, give less money, so then what can they afford to buy?
Yeah, exactly. That's another question. You guys have places to stay, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, do people who are homeless, how are you doing working with food, money, warm in the winter?
They go to different places. They have a shelter here. Or they sort of a shelter, but my people are not into you tell me what to do when they go to bed and how to go to bed. So you may feed them.
Which shelter are you talking about?
The warming shelter?
Yeah, the warming shelter.
The Salinas warming shelter is one, and the Victory Mission is another. Women Alive is another at Dorothy's. And I think that's all we have here.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people come here. Because they're hearing about this because Chinatown is doing what they're redeveloping Chinatown, so it cannot be.
The Mid-Peninsula project is supposed to house 98 chronically homeless, 0 to 30% median income. And a lot of the way people get money is maybe they get a little bit of benefit, you know, like retirement or Social Security or something. And But it's not enough. I mean, you have to have 3 times the rate to be able to move in somewhere, and you have to show that you make that income for over 6 months.
A person getting like $300 on his account, or what he makes is $300 a month, and somebody else is he has a payee. Come on. It gets me. How do we take charge? How is the city supposed to take charge? It's not taking charge, but like putting things out there for them in their cultural way of coming in and saying hello. Okay, hey, we don't need to have some place like I'm sure the big cities have that. Where they still come all night from and come into you. You know, but here, come on, we're born and where they're changing this come from military trafficking. Okay, and you draw the people from different backgrounds. These are homeless, I mean, not homeless, but agriculture, they travel from nomadically. Living on the east side completely different than living on this side. I mean, but they take care of each other, they try as much as they can, but they're overwhelmed too. And the city knows that. So what are they doing? Are they really doing something to stop? There's more punishment. Okay? It's more punishment.
They just like.
It's part of the cycle.
What can we do for them?
Well, yeah, isn't it a lot easier to get rid of people you don't like or understand? I mean, it makes it a lot simpler for you. John, is that?
I personally don't like it. I wish I would have I do know the city spent $2.4 million last year. Have you guys heard of that?
Do you know what it was spent on?
That's what I wanted to ask you guys.
Well, now the city has boasted in the last few years it's gone up in the numbers. The last I heard it's about $6 million in the last maybe 3 or 4 years. An awful lot of that money goes to real estate, the mid-end property. The city owns a lot of property.
Is it effective? Do you feel like people actually reach out to you guys and care for you guys?
I think that the money went to real estate, so the city bought itself property, and then it went to cleanups. Okay, that's a very subjective term. It's more emptying out, because clean is one of those connotation words. But how clean is it? Because what you did was you just shoved them out of where they were. You cleaned that area by emptying it out, and you basically stole what they got. That's the bulk of what they spent this money on. For Smith and Wright, the police officers, the dumping fees, the administration, the paperwork, the court, and then, it's amazing how, and then the jail gets a little piece out of it too. I mean, because we got to house them, we got to pay them the houses. Some people are staying in jobs off of other people's human suffering just because they're too poor to afford rent. And it's the only reason, because it doesn't matter how clean, how dirty, how messy, how empty, how organized. If you've only got a tent and nothing else and everything's inside your tent, it doesn't even matter if you're just sitting there with a blanket. You're there and you're not paying rent. Where's my shakedown money?
His name is Derek.
So, have you guys ever done this?
I lived in my car for 6 months when I first got here in 2011. I came back here and I couldn't afford it. I mean, geez, I just come out of a divorce and trying to see my kids, and that's about all I could do. That's how I know for sure, because I hit that thing.
Has the city ever reached out to you for that time?
No, well, you have to realize that the whole point of everybody's existence is to tell you yes, but mean no. It seems like an awful lot of people have that attitude. It's a very salesman attitude. Bait and switch. When you go down to people say, oh, go over there, go check them out. They'll help you. Nonsense. They already know it ain't going anywhere. But, you get in line. I got in the line and I got the GA thing. I think maybe $100 or something a month. And it went on a food card, EBT. And that was when we first started doing EBT. And I mean, you know, they required, you know, hey, you need 30 applications turned in a week. And, I mean, it was kind of ridiculously insane. And you know, I have substitute teachers, so it was summertime. There's nothing I can do. And then I'm working, and then, so now I'm working and earning money. You don't need my money, and so they cut me off. And it's like, well, okay, you know, here I am living in my car, showering out, you know, and going with the tie on, you know, my mats in the back. And luckily I got 10 windows parking. I mean, you know, just trying to. Hopefully nobody realizes I'm actually senior because I mean, you know, kids can be mean.
Yeah, you can.
And all it takes is one to know. And
What about you, Jim? Do you have
Well, I grew up here. Actually, I've seen the way it has come about. A lot of these people, I know their fathers, their mothers went to school together. Most of the schools here. North Side, I live on the east side. I used to hitchhike every day, going to high school.
hitchhike.
Oh, God.
Yeah, from Nassau to North Iowa, it's like 4 or 5 miles.
I lived on Gardner. And before that, was the project. I'm understanding how they pushed out the poor. We were black. We came from Louisiana. My mother brought us.
That was the perfect
I see it now. Racism, I never thought about it. One reason why I see it now because I understand what they mean by it. You can get this and get that, but I don't think about it. For what? I understand the truth. I'm not an interpreter. So that's why I was saying, you don't talk because like you don't want to understand the truth. You know, you can. No, he's in the school. I listen. I know what he's saying is right. Okay, because if I said, oh yeah, right. But who is he? They're going to take a picture of what they have been programmed to believe as in people of dark skin and dark color are wanting something because I don't want nothing from nobody. For what?
So that was a struggle?
Yes. You know, my mother was one that really, see, after I graduated, I wasn't sharp enough, I thought, to go to college, so I went into the service. And I was going to go to the Army because I didn't get an Army school. And so then, I went into that. And I was in Vietnam and all that. And when I went in, I was lucky, I guess. You know, because when the evacuation started, I was in San Diego. I got from San Diego to San Diego now. I got out, I came back home.
Oh, it's amazing.
And they said, from Okinawa, I'm sitting there and I said, they're going to stop the war. They're going to be evacuated. They sent us. And I said, went there to bring them back, brought people back there to California, to San Diego. And for what? They got big time money
It's the fancy one.
place to here.
Yeah.
But from crossing from Mexico to here, what are we doing for them? Okay, and they're running from poverty, they're running from instability that we cause in that country, and what do they push? The drug people. And who's doing it? Okay, we're supposed to be big brothers that helping everybody. What do they do for people? You know, go around. That's why I'm talking. Because, you know, am I to get mad?
It's not like
Okay, am I to be a terrorist? I live here. Fix it. Okay, that's what we should be doing. We're the biggest terrorists in the world. Okay, I mean, I'm putting things over here. Okay, but what about the people right here? This is a complex right now, but sooner or later, it's going to be doing 60s and 80s lifting guns out here. Now it's more what's exploded is the drug, what do you call mental health processes? Why?
It's on that.
Why are they so stagnant? Because what you feel.
Well, the way we treat them, the way we treat people is first off, and then we say, hey, just take a pill, it'll be all right. And then because you took that pill, well, you have a mental illness, so now you know you hit that glass ceiling, you'll never do better than that.
And mental illness, you don't have any rights. You can't. There's nothing you can do. You lose all your rights. You You have okay, you have everything. Okay, they can come and talk to you, make sure that you're not banging your head against the wall to destroy yourself, but can they change it? Are they showing you anything to do? Do they have a person, a health person, or a health friend following around? Do they have that? Okay, are the people willing? Is that part of the contract with them? I mean, the money's there, the ideas, or what they're just ideas, are really being put into focus. But they're really being put come on.
Get your attention. That'll cost money, that won't make us money.
And you have, okay, people are on probation. You're talking about some of them are training dogs. Dog trainers, who work with partners, other people that's out here.
Where's the origin? Why are they all?
I mean, well, I can figure that out. Yeah, that's a trip because like life is simple if you make it simple. The people make it hard. The police make it hard. Our rules make it hard. But life is simple actually. You give me the rules, but what do you give me? If I was a veteran, I'd be. If I was there, I would have nothing, but I have them. Yeah. Okay, but then again, too, I'm homeless too. But right now, I'm not homeless because I quit today.
Right, couch surfing, yeah.
You just don't have a place to stay.
Yeah, but it's not to have a place to stay. It's the place that, I mean, it's the fact that no one ever should be in this position. I'm in a position, I can't say anything. If I say something, I'm running my people that are trying to help me, so I have to be patient. Every morning, right here, when I get to 6 o'clock, I go to Monterey. Yeah, but then programs. And there's people I know through the years I know who are homeless, who are sleeping in Monterey. What do they do? Okay, how they make money? Panhandle. Okay, then we're come on. They got businesses there, so now the businesses don't want them there because they feel they spend the way some people do panhandle is not good.
But since it happened one time, we're going to make that the rule because everybody's going to do that.
Like we got here right now and talk to them. Okay, there a lot of them, they don't know what to do. They're stagnated as a water. And what happens?
That's our biggest problem, right? Because we can direct them to do something, but we make things so ambiguous. We don't have any kind of rules of you know, like standards of like, well, if you can keep your stuff within, you know, a 20 by 20 area, and it's nice and neat and tidy, and you're doing all your drugs inside the tent, and you're being completely legit outside the tent, then we got no problem with you. You know, but that's never going to be established because the whole point is you're trespassing. I mean, they passed this ordinance saying 7 to 7 they weren't going to mess with people. You can put a tent up from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. but take it down in the morning. Right? And of course, some people don't do that. But during the night, you're going to come and get people to roll them up during the night. That doesn't make any sense at all. But see, they leave themselves enough leeway in there. We'll do 7 to 7, unless of course we feel like it. And that's just, that's wrong. I mean, that's not the way you make rules.
Do you feel like, what should be, where should all these people go?
Well, look at this is our radio affordable housing. Go. What do you mean go? Go. That's like saying the same thing at your house. I mean, you got people.
What should we do? That's a big question.
Should we build it homes? Should we build places or programs?
It's about caring about
Because
people.
you guys said that in your experience, actually go. Was it effective? Not really. Has anybody personally ever came? All the parts do this, care. I feel like if we had more shelters for that, do you guys think that would be?
Of course.
Right? Because what is it doing? The shelter there helps out one neighborhood down near Old Town.
Is that really effective? By Chinatown? Or is it a shelter?
There's Victory Mission also, yes, and that, but see, that really only serves one neighborhood because people aren't going to go all the way from the Timbat Creek to come all the way over here and leave everything they got over there just to sleep inside for a minute, you know. But if they had something closer, the service providers are overwhelmed. Money is not available because carrying is not possible. In fact, it's a lot easier to take advantage of people who actually care about you. You know, and that's part.
This thing right here is like a shelter or a prison, actually. Right here. Sherwood
I
Park.
mean, four corners and the tables.
Yeah, Sherwood Park and Chinatown's over here. The people don't get along in Chinatown, so they have to run in here, and you have this part, and you have the four corners over here, and you have this right here. And then, two, there's another part.
That's funny, we're just talking about that. Why?
Well,
Oh, sorry, yes.
one of the main reasons why this has been such a solid place to be is there's a dentist office over here, and there's people who owns homes over here who've been very supportive and kind to people in general. And you know, it ended up being a lot of people we could kick out of there, and they'd sleep under the dentist office because he owns that whole property. And so you know, it's private property, and now it's okay. You know.
But there's not a lot of people like that, you know, right?
Exactly. Well, and if there were more,
It'd be hard.
there's a little bit of intimidation that happens on the backside. The police will come by to businesses and say, if you don't get rid of that, we will start charging your business per day for a violation. And they've done that to Walmart. They've done that.
Yeah.
They've done that to a lot of little businesses. It's very disappointing the way the power can corrupt people.
Now, what about like, you know, as far as some people like, I know they're in a condition where sometimes they can't work or they can work. Do you think like if some of those people find a job, like, do you think that would be cool? Maybe they would, like our government would come up with a better or something more important.
Well, I mean, I think you're getting, for me, it's more philosophical because what does job mean? Job means minimum wage at very part-time, split shift hours, and you're basically paying to work. That's what a job means these days. You know, and gainful employment is going to be out of reach for anybody. So we're peasant class is more and more what it turns into. And there's no way you're going to break that glass ceiling. Because you're poor, you're always going to be poor, you're broke, and we already know your rap sheet is minimal, and the only people we really care about is the big businesses. That's just been the pattern that I've noticed.
I think it should be.
That'd be, you know what? But see, look, if people could adopt each other. I mean, how do you think we end up with 3 and 4 families in the same house? Because we got to stick together. You know, and that's still my family, and you know, I'm not going to leave them behind. You got to take care of them, you know, and that just becomes. But then, you know, if you're on Section 8 or something, well, then you just put yourself in jeopardy, you know, and now the whole family's on the street. I mean, I know a family that had a real good restaurant business, and an employee started embezzling money, so then they lost their business, and then they moved into an RV. I mean, they got 4 kids, and they don't qualify because, you know, they qualify, but see, they got 4 kids, so they can't get into a place big enough for them. So the RV is the only place they can go. And it's like, you know, you keep on developing more chutes and destroying ladders at the same time. You know, and all you can do is just go down, down, down. And it's like we're feeding on people. It's cannibalism. The jobby job thing, I think, honestly, it's saying mental illness or get a job or, you know, anybody can do it. You know, those bootstraps are getting harder to come by. You have to pull yourself up on it. You know, because every time you turn around, you got another sweep stealing all your stuff. It's $150, $200 just to get your new tent and blanket and a couple of things of clothes. You know, I mean, you lose everything. I'm talking about the cleanups, or $6 million worth of cleanups. I mean, you know, it's. A little bit of that money went to emergency services. Those actually went to nonprofit programs. You know, but the bulk of all that $6 million went to real estate, buying property for the city, so city owned and operated, which includes real people, and they are getting that for $1. You know, but it's almost like a hoarding effect, and it's only really going to benefit the city corporate and the city corporate's interests, which very rarely includes much of rank and file community.
Because now,
Do you feel, some of these, you know, resilience of government, society?
It's a
Because I feel like it's how we should change that. I know that it's
Yeah, we're like, all those guys are gonna go off. They're out of the street with not much money even there. It was like kind of dark, so it's really
So there's that's a good idea. Sure.
Well, it's our basis attitude. I mean, we're terribly immature as people. We don't practice what we preach. We don't say what we mean. We try to lie people on purpose because we think we're going to get something out of it. And that's what we've been taught to do. That's what our elders do. I mean, you see some good people in your own family and you're growing up, but you see it in the world. And it's easy to tell. I've done a lot of stuff. And I've seen good teachers, bad teachers, good principals, not so good, and superintendent, all the way up the line. And everybody's always vying to get ahead. And typically the way you get ahead is by ruining other people. And you start looking at it in the kindergarten age, in preschool age, token economy. Hey, I'll give you a stencil if you be good for a day. I got some candies.
When I first started coming out,
Yes. Yeah, well, we train people.
You know what? People we put in there, put other people in there. The government's not the problem. It's the people that put in. That's it. The government's not the problem. So they may not be this lifetime. We got to find certain people. Sure, they have little heroes, Abraham Lincoln, and all that. They put them in there. What do we have now? All different things. The more people that should be in there, the ones that they thought would stand up are dead. Okay, these targets that are living, these are all dead and we put forth too.
Society.
Yeah, okay, they're all dead, but why are they dead? Yeah, but why are they dead? Who truly, but now, we're here now. What do we want? It's not about
a lot of those
doing the government, it's about changing people.
Changing the world.
Okay, you have schools that who truly, they have, what do they call it? Everything, they have, I don't think of the word, but they have a cure. They have a pill for everything. Okay, so what they have is have a class for everything. Schools, give them money to go to school. If you give a person money to go to school, like go to a hitchhiking school or a begging school, okay, those are their levels on the street out here. We're getting them to go to class. Treating them within itself.
I couldn't agree more that it's also people because people understand you guys. It's not
Well, very first off, is anybody interested? I mean, it goes back to even kindergarten, 7th grade, right? And how you deal with people even then. I mean, we learned everything we need to know in life in kindergarten: how to share, how to take turns, how to be nice to people. We knew all that when we were little. And until about 8 or 10, if we really believe this stuff, if we really try, right? But even the best of those who are loyal to these rules, they start noticing, well, but you're an adult and you don't do that, and how come nobody else is following these rules they're telling me to do?
I feel like this world that is so judgmental and not helpful. You say they are, but they're not. That's what you guys do.
Well, what do we focus our money on? Almost every day we're spending money, a large portion. We're spending money for entertainment, concerts, and Beats headphones.
But if you think about anything that the store is getting, full expenses.
That's just it, right? Yeah, consumerism. But we're still trained to. You gotta go to the store. What are we doing? Let's go to the mall today.
Yeah, I know.
People don't realize there's people.
And so these minor partners sort of.
They don't really have that.
There's I think our median income right now is about 50 or 60,000, which means you got less than half of the people getting enough to make it, to subsist by themselves, independent, gainfully employed. That's our American dream right now, making it up. But who do you make your money from? The same people who treat you like garbage. They ain't gonna pay you nothing.
So, we're talking about this, so the way they kind of realize,
Community is a maturity. There's plenty of people who already know this. It's common sense, and you help people. If you go to church and you actually believe it, then that's what you're called to do. But how many people actually follow through with that? And that's the maturity factor I'm looking at.
And we should start here.
That's actually a relevant question. You said, what do we want to do today, or what happened today?
Yeah, what happened in Sonora?
we went out Seaside, Roberts Lake in Seaside did a ribbon cutting for a new little park area. Right, so they had a lot of little kids and stuff. Yeah, you know, we're trying to stay current and upbeat, you know, not always negative, but it's hard. And then we came back here because we dropped them off, and then we've been telling them about, you know, so the Salinas Homeless Union also does this thing where we're training some legal observers. So to be a legal observer, just basically somebody in an encampment, and see there's a set and there's a set, you know, just right here in the tables in the four corners. You know, in those encampments, somebody there with a video camera to video the whole experience with the police officers coming, if Smith and Enright comes, just video the whole thing. As you know what? Because you can do that. It's a scary situation because you feel like you're going to be more targeted because you're videoing. You know, and just by doing that, you definitely get retaliation, and it's intimidating. I mean, luckily, you know, I can run away. You know, I'm not stuck in this situation. I can come back anytime. Here's my good buddies here, the security guard at your head's command, Mr. How you doing?
Another day.
Yeah, right. He helped me out with the flagpole thing because we did a 6-month protest in front of City Hall in 2016, I guess. Yeah. So it actually goes on the heels of the other thing, right? So with that, the storage of personal property ordinance, we filed a federal lawsuit against the city. We won because the city retracted the ordinance and made a new ordinance. The new ordinance said they were going to connect people with services and you know, post notices and give due process, and so we won. You know, the 66 thing started, but then they'd come and they'd notice, but they wouldn't connect anybody with services, and that's what I mean. Like the service providers are known, and there's no way they'd be able to keep up with that. But what was supposed to happen, or at least what it seemed like in writing, was the service providers would go door to door, tent to tent, within the 72-hour notice of the public notice, to ask them, hey, you know what, do you want to sign up for the HMIS, which is like a housing management information system. Cool. And we ended up, and Linda here too was also a part of it.
I was.
Linda.
Linda. Oh, nice to meet you.
Very well. And you know, she got a couple of dogs, and she's outside.
Grandson.
Grandson. Oh,
And then I gotta deal with grandkids and everything else being homeless. It's a chore.
what's your last name?
Contreras.
And how, so, what's your background?
Well, I'm originally from Mayoral County, but I've been here for 43 years. Since my oldest son passed away, that's since 2010. But I've been lucky so far and had a family, so I can stay here once in a while. Everyday struggles.
Yeah, like typical day struggles.
Getting to and to eat, to get groceries wherever we go, and just even picking up my grandkids sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, it gets hard out there. And then I have dogs, and I really don't want to get rid of them, so
Oh, they're cute.
there's another thing that I got to deal
They're
with.
part of your family.
They're my
Yeah.
family, so they are. I got a new addition here too, but yeah,
Very
Right?
cute. What's
And
her name?
that's go ahead.
Kiki. Yeah. And this is Brenda and Sammy, and that's daughter's dad.
Aw, they're so cute.
That's why it's family.
Yeah.
And it does become family out here. You know, it's funny, but it's how much you tend to kind of hold on to them for the same reason that you're out here by yourself. So,
Do you feel safe?
not all the time.
Well, and since she has animals, there's no way the shelter's going to take her.
Oh, no.
So you know, and so what do? You give up your family for nights of being warm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of impossible challenges, and honestly, if people start adopting each other more, I mean, you know, there's so many people that have a large house, right? I mean, It's scary. It's an automatic relationship having somebody in your house or something. But I mean, there are people you could have more relationships with. I mean, you know, the same way as the youngsters go to the senior center homes. You know, because there's connections to be made. You know, and each one is fulfilling the other. And there's a lot of fulfilling that could happen because we hurt. A lot of people hurt. You know, and it's companionship. We have become social creatures, but we let the numbers, this piece of paper, dictate how we're going to relate to people.
Right. So, in your views, what do you think Salinas should do to improve this?
That is such a hard one to do. Because everybody's getting thrown out of wherever they go, you know, so what's left, really?
Exactly.
Unless we post like we do right here and stay at the, you know, parks and they tell us we have to leave too. And it's like that everywhere you go. And then you go to the shelters and then you end up getting all kinds of bugs and everything that's going on right now.
They're not really that helpful.
Well, no.
Bed bugs?
It's got scabies going on right
Ew.
now.
Oh, really?
So that's another
Any
major
kind of
too.
outbreak, yeah.
Yeah, and then right now it's a lot of kids in the shelter, so that's going to make it harder. You know?
Right. Yeah, I heard they actually they made some males leave because they had more families, and so they need more space for the families.
Do you know how many people they cook for?
They've had 70 going for a while. Right,
And, you know,
60 to 70.
And then also we have a lot of people that are not mentally capable of being by themselves and stuff.
Yeah.
And I know one for a fact, Colin, they threw him out of the thing. They had to go sleep on he slept on the sidewalk. He slept on the sidewalk
Here in Salinas?
yeah.
Yeah, he does need help.
Yeah, he's getting dementia and stuff, and nobody's really there to help him. But you know, he forgets where he got to go, even, and so it's just getting hard on him. They need a special place for them. They really do.
They do.
You know, but
Well, give them priority, yeah.
it's just sad to see somebody like that who could be, you know, they're out,
Yeah.
they can be helped, but
Disappointing that communities fail to do this.
Well, you know, and that goes back to the city center and the Chamber of Commerce is one of those biggest culprits, leaders, you know, role models of what the community follows suit with.
Yeah.
You know, because if the biggest of them all won't do it, why would the littles? You know, that you worry about the problem, you know, and that's the Chamber of Commerce and the city. The businesses win; they've got a win-win. But where's the community in that?
you know, even like since the head people over here, like the mayor, we wanted a meeting with him one time, and they weren't aware that I was with the group. And I was standing there, and then they said the homeless something wanted to have a meeting with him, and his response was sometime never.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Right? Isn't that
He
interesting?
said
Yeah, right?
sometime never.
Yeah,
And then
well, no, yeah, he said sometime, and as he was walking away,
Never.
yeah, and she overheard it.
Yeah, and then
But that's what the mayor said, kind
How
of
can
under
he
his
treat
breath.
you like that?
I even
That's
asked
really
I asked the secretary, what did you just say? He goes, oh, I didn't hear nothing. Oh, yes, you did. Didn't he say
Yeah, he
sometime
did.
never?
See?
Oh my God.
And he just,
But
I don't know.
that's the problem. I mean, if you can't tell the truth, and that's your
Jeremiah?
job as a public servant,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, what are you doing? And then
Fine.
it's you know what, people say silly little things all the time, but when it's negatively impacting people,
Wow.
that's just mean.
Hey. I think that should be a logo on sometime never.
Right?
Yeah. I'm gonna put that in my article. Maybe
Yeah,
headlines.
that was when we were
Never.
doing the flagpole.
You guys made me think about something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if he's supposed to be helping and stuff, you know, he's not doing a darn thing. And he plans to never have a meeting with us, you know, that's not good.
Who was this again?
The mayor,
Mayor
The
Joe
mayor?
Gunter. Mayor Joe
Right
Gunter,
now.
while we were
Wow,
in flagpole in
I'm
2016.
yeah. So Mr. Gunther.
Wow. When was this?
This was last year summertime.
Last
around
year?
sometime.
Yeah, it was in the summer.
Yeah.
You were
But
there
no,
too?
Yeah, oh, I'm the one that heard it.
But you were
yeah.
there for like
The 10th.
the 10th thing.
Yeah.
It was an in like they were like helping you guys or something.
Well, he did the whole.
Oh, you organized something.
Well,
and then,
we had a bunch of people sleeping
Yeah.
on the courtyard in front of City Hall. We
Oh,
call it
in
the
front of the
flagpole.
city. Okay, I see.
You know, and we were there every day between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. because that's the law they made. And I was driving people to the place because as they were getting rooted out and posted, they were never being connected with services. So that's why, hey, you forgot your job. Hey, you got to take care of these people.
And that's what they do. They just throw throw them out of here, but where are they supposed to go from here?
Yeah.
Okay, you throw them out from there,
That's
where are they
what I
supposed to go from there? You know, yeah, it doesn't look good. I mean, having the tents all over, but you have another choice sometimes, you know? You have to do what you gotta do just to survive every day.
Yeah.
It's not like you have a home to go to all the time. Well, I got news for that one. I do have a little home right now.
Right? Yeah,
Oh,
right in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a place that I'm house sitting, so
Good
it's
for
good
you.
for right now.
God
But that's
bless
not gonna
you.
last forever, but yeah. Then I end up again.
Permanency. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll end up out here
So,
again, but for now it's good.
What happens when somebody like gets sick? You know, like where do they go?
A lot of times they
Like-
refuse to go to the hospital.
Which one?
Any
Like, Any
hospital.
hospital?
Natividad is the only one that will accept him.
Yeah.
Natividad? Oh.
Yeah.
But,
So you guys just like, you guys gotta fight that cough you guys going on and everything?
a lot of people do.
Yeah, well, and quite often,
We had-
go ahead.
We had a couple. We already had one person die here. He had pneumonia. Well, it's the verge of dying. Got him to the hospital and he ended alive maybe another week. That was from all the shit he was going through here.
There's not just that only person who passed away. You've experienced others,
There's
those
others.
people.
There's others that
I'm so sorry.
Well, you know, when you actually do call and you get ambulanced or whatever, or if you do go to the emergency room, they turn you out almost as quick as you showed up, or as quick as they took you. I mean, you might have been there 6 hours, but
Yeah, and they'll see, well, a lot of them do drink, okay? They have that problem, they're drinkers. And they'll get here and go, oh, so he's been drinking, hasn't he? We've been here before for this and this and that. Well, yeah, but he still needs the help now. You know?
Yeah,
You
it
can't
doesn't
just
matter.
say,
He's a human.
yeah,
You know?
and that's sad to see, you know. It's really sad to see when they do that. So,
oh gosh, and then you get in that upper crust of like, ew, I don't want to help those people, but that's your job.
We're all the same. We're all humans. We all come from, the same communities and that.
yeah, it does get a lot out of here.
Wow. And people treat you like that, right?
Hmm. Right from the professionals who are there to help you.
Even the mayor. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, I can tell you some stories.
Yeah? Oh my gosh.
She liked to hear him though, too.
Yeah, well,
so
you know,
I like
he is.
hearing you guys.
So the mayor Gunter is on this homeless committee, along with Mayor Rubio of Seaside and Mayor Labar of King City. They're on this Leave Me Home plan, which is between the county of Monterey and San Benito counties. What I've noticed for all these people who say that they're champions of the homeless, what they really do is they sit on a committee to make sure to stifle and suffocate the actual progress, if there is going to be any. Because you don't want to divert money to these people; they're worthless and throwaways anyway. That's
Crazy.
Tamsy, I'll give you this prime example where I'm coming up with all of this stuff I just told you about. The Chamber of Commerce, Mayor Joe Gunter, the Old Town Salinas, which is now the Salinas City Center or something. They all came down to this TAMSI board meeting, Transportation Agency of Monterey County. A couple years ago, the shelter was over at the old Sizzler, which turned into All US Bank, the corner of Salinas Street and Market Street, 20 Market Street. And there was a shelter in there. It had been going right after the flagpole died, because they changed the law. They opened that shelter, and that's where most everybody went a month later. And so I've been taking care of them that whole time, and I'm like, cool, I'm glad y'all's getting taken care of, right? And then Alejo got in. Luis Alejo got in a supervisor, and he made it an agenda item that we should extend it either all the way until November, or at least month to month or something, and see if we can go all the way that way, right? Because it's needed. And the City of Salinas, the Chamber of Commerce, the downtown, they all are emphatically against it, and talking about needles and drugs and anything they could under the sun to talk all negative about them.
I'm sorry. Have you guys ever done drugs in the time of being?
Well, we've all dabbled one thing or another, but yeah.
Right. But the trip was that Mike Labar, who's on this homeless committee as well, from King City, he comes up with this agreement. The first one, the whole thing till November was shot down. The month-to-month thing was voted down, and then a 30-day drop dead agreement.
Oh my God.
Drop dead included in the words. because that's absolutely what it,
That's so
yeah, right.
disappointing.
So they gave an extension, and then right after that is when I opened my Friends Inside Cooling Shelter, and it lasted for a week. Did you hear about that at all? So that was at least a year ago. The May 30th was the last day it was open for that 30-day drop dead agreement, and so I opened a shelter. I guess it wasn't properly permitted, which would have taken way long time. It didn't have fire sprinklers on along the ceiling. So, but we opened a shelter. There was no place for women to go because Women Alive closed at the same time, and that shelter closed.
Yeah.
So there was absolutely nowhere for women to go. And we opened that thing up. We saved lives that week. We definitely did because it soaked to the bone. It rained, and it was like 45 degrees.
What does happen when it rains? Like,
I hope you have good coverage.
If you got any kind of holes in the tarp or in the tent and everything is soaked, a lot of things become ruined that way. Soiled.
and back to shelters. How did the start of the campsites at Chinatown happen? Like, how was it that there was another campsite before that, or was it just because Chinatown just started involving more homeless people?
That's just about the way it started, no?
So Chinatown used to be a very, very vibrant, right? I mean, it was a red light district where all MPS and DLI officers go to spend their money, and Fort Ord people go to spend their money, and booze and drinking and all these negative things that we're scared of homeless people doing. Hey, if you can pay for it, then it's all good.
And that was all good then, I guess.
Right, yeah, but it kind of went defunct in the 80s, and it became a dumping ground for hospital and sheriff releases and from other cities. It became a dumping ground to Chinatown directly. Hey, go ahead, and it became a people issue, right? The swinging doors started having Dorothy's kitchen, and people were never had a tent until about 2013.
So how was Dorothy's Kitchen started? Like, was that also affected?
Well, of course, a soup kitchen is always helpful. It was totally run by volunteers when it started.
Yeah.
And I know quite a few of that set too. And the finances kind of took over to policies, and policies end up being, well, the easiest way to help is to not help anybody.
They're getting paid pretty good, the ones that are there, aren't they?
They can.
I know they get paid.
Well, so people did start putting up tents on the sidewalk, but it was more, there were a lot of vacant lots. Okay, so they put them in there, and they coalesced there, and then they started putting those iron rod fencing, block off that whole vacant lot. Well, now you popped one person or two people who were in these separate places. Now you pop those people. Now they have to go and coalesce in another spot. Now they're coalescing more in that other spot. We do that, and now we've just doubled how many people we're displacing, as before. Well, they ended up checkerboxing that whole street. And when they did the storage of personal property on city property ordinance, they also put a fence around the last bit of vacant property. And so now everybody's on the sidewalk, but you're not allowed on the sidewalk either.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of empty space right there that could be used for that,
Right.
Not being allowed.
Right? And it'd be a lot safer if they weren't on the street.
Yeah.
But so we are implementing policies to make people in a worse position, basically setting them up for failure and then saying, why are you failing?
So who do you work with again to make sure that, make a difference here? Like, who are you working with now?
Anything that's helpful and positive, honestly. I mean,
Like right now, currently, are you with the city council or something? Like, since you're running with mayor and everything.
well, unfortunately, we don't really get along very well. Working with somebody, I don't work. I mean, this is the other hardship. I've been doing this for free for 4 years. Basically sticking up for people.
Yeah.
And it started at the school district level, and I started noticing that the board and administration
Right.
had their own agenda, and they could care less what you had to say, and even if it impacted directly their decision. You could have 200 parents and teachers show up to a board meeting, and they just say, so what, we're going to do what we want anyway. And you see that happening in city council too. It's who is there really to play with? I mean, I'm not contracted, so I'm not worthy. And I've been doing everything from the outside, just saying, hey, y'all need to do better. And everybody just says, what do you mean? I'm doing just fine. And,
It's not.
yeah, well, because they get paid, they get to go home.
We need more people like you guys, do the activist thing. It could happen. I really strongly believe
Oh, yeah.
that your unity is what really is bringing you guys together, and you guys can make a change here. And I really do. God bless you.
Because he tried to do it with council, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I got shortchanged on that one. I don't have an address. I don't have an address to share. It's not mine. So I have a place inside somebody else's house, and it's not mine. So I can't share that.
So you're still running for mayor right now, right?
Yes.
Now? Okay. So when do you find out? I don't know any of this. Like when do you find out?
Oh, the filing period is July 16th. So I'm going for that.
That's close.
Yeah. That's next week already.
Next week.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then it's open until August 10. And I'm not just worried about, the mayor thing is a big deal. But like I said, I'm always worried about people more than anything else, right? Act local, but think global. Okay, and so I'm looking at school board races, hospital board races, water board races, as well as city councils and judges. I want to rate them all. I want to grade all these incumbents and candidates as to what would be most effective for the community, not the business interests, but community.
Yeah. So in the end,
Good.
can I have all of you guys? Like, I want to ask you guys one last question. Sorry, I kept you guys a long time.
Oh, please.
Here. So because of all this, where do you guys see yourselves here in the long time? Where do you guys see yourselves? Like, what do you see you guys doing?
You know that we're in survival mood all the time and really can't even think about tomorrow at all because you're so worried about this time right now and where you're going to go and what's going to happen. And so you can't plan anything because you don't know where you're going to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's make no plans. Just live day by day.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I got to ask that question like last year, and at that time, there was no way I could have predicted that the Tansy shelter and Women Alive was going to close at the same time I was going to open a shelter. There's no way I could have predicted that. I mean, what I can hope for is a better future where people actually care about each other, and that's. It doesn't seem that hard. It just takes modeling, and allowing that opportunity to grow, making space for it.
And next week could be life changing. Like, imagine
Exactly.
that'd be amazing. Like, I would vote for you guys.
Sweet,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll give you a card just for
wanna
fun.
see- Yeah, please, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry, where do you see yourself here in the future?
Salinas.
Right? Lifer.
Salinas, I don't think like that. It's just that life is life and what we're doing here. Just living and making the best you can. Can't change no place else. It's heck. I like it.
Nice.
I've been here 43 years, so it doesn't look like I'm going anywhere.
Sweet. Oh, you should have pushed silent on that.
Alright, well,
nice
thank
meeting
you.
you.
Nice
Awesome.
meeting you guys. Alright, nice meeting you.
I'll see you later.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you guys
Appreciate
for
it.
sharing. It means a lot, honestly.
I will see you.
Okay, well, I